وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لطمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانتهم فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نعمره ننقص في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويهلك القول والكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وذللنا لهم فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم ير الإنسان أنا خلقناه من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين واضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحييها الذي ينشأها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر ألا أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو خلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون صدق الله العلي العظيم.
बर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सलावत तमाम अरमीन के लिए सूरह फातिहा। मरसी के चंद एक मरतबा तमाम मिलकर नारे सलवात बच्चे को जब हुसैन लहद में सुला चुके तेरे अली से नन्ही सी तुर्बत बना चुके मट्टी में आप अपनी कमाई मिला चुके बेशीर के मज़ार पे आंसू बहा चुके जिस वक्त दफन करके उठे नूर ऐन को नौका सवार एक नज़र आया हुसैन को नौका सवार एक नज़र आया हुसैन को वो बेकसो मलूलो परेशान व बेनवा बोला इमाम दी से के बंदाए खुदा اتنا مجھے بتا دے پائے شاہ لا فتح، یہ لشکر امام ہے یا لشکر جفا، یہ لشکر امام ہے یا لشکر جفا، ان کے بیان غم سے جگر پاش پاش ہے، زہرا کے نور عین کی مجھ کو تلاش ہے، زہرا کے نور عین کی مجھ کو تلاش ہے، ان لوگوں کو نہ پاس نبی ہے نہ حق کا ڈر، کہتے ہیں اب کہاں پسر فاطمہ کا گھر، بولے امام پاک کے مرد خوش سیر، تو کیوں ہنسی ہے اپنی مصیبت بیان کر، تو کیوں ہنسی ہے اپنی مصیبت بیان کر، شاید وطن کو چھوڑ کے آفات میں پڑ گیا، بیٹا جواں چھٹا ہے کہ بھائی بچھڑ گیا، بیٹا جواں چھٹا ہے کہ بھائی بچھڑ گیا، آنکھوں میں اشک بھر کے شہ پاک نے کہا، آئے میری مریض کے قاصد قریب آ، تو محسن حسین اے خاصہ خدا، بیمار خستہ حال کا نامہ مجھے دکھا، بیمار خستہ حال کا نامہ مجھے دکھا، میں ہی علی و فاطمہ کا نور عین ہوں، وہ خط میری مریض کا ہے میں حسین ہوں، میں ہی علی و فاطمہ کا نور عین ہوں، وہ خط میری مریض کا ہے میں حسین ہوں، قاصد نے اس بیان پہ شور بکا کیا، حضرت نے اس غریب سے بیٹی کا خط لیا، اہل حرم میں جا کے کہا شکر کبریا، قسمت نے فاطمہ کا قلق بھی سنا دیا، بانو تمہاری نور نظر کا خط آیا ہے، اکبر کو بھیج دو کہ بہن نے بلایا ہے، اکبر کو بھیج دو کہ بہن نے بلایا ہے، اکبر کو یہ لکھا ہے کہ ہم شکل مصطفیٰ، تم صادق و کریم ہو تم صاحب وفا، کس بات پر ملول ہو کس بات پر خفا، اموں سے عرض ہے کہ پیش آئے کل کفا، اب رحم کھاؤ شاہ مدینہ کا واسطہ، عباس نامدار سکینہ کا واسطہ، بچے کو جب حسین لحد میں سلا چکے، بھردی کر سلوات، پر محمد والے محمد صلوات، میرے بابا میرے بابا بھائی جب مارا گیا اصغر کے لگا، آپ کہاں تھے بابا، اور قتل عباس ہوا، آپ کہاں تھے بابا، میرے بابا، میرے بابا. سب یہ کہتے ہیں کہ ہے نعمت داور پانی، بند کرتا ہے کہاں کون کسی پر پانی، اور یہ ستم ہم پہ ہوا، آپ کہاں تھے بابا، میرے بابا، میرے بابا. پیاسے بچوں کے لیے جنگ جو عباس نے کی، ایسی الغار ہوئی مشق سکینہ نہ رہی، اور غازی کا بازو کٹا، آپ کہاں تھے بابا، میرے بابا، میرے بابا. آیا اصغر سر میں دانت تو ہوا اور ستم، سوکھے ہونٹوں پہ زبان اس نے پھرائی جس دم، اور تیر جب اس کے لگا، آپ کہاں تھے بابا، میرے بابا، میرے بابا. میرا دل بند حسن جب نہیں ہارا بابا، اس طرح مل کے سبوں نے اسے مارا بابا، لاشا پامال کیا، آپ کہاں تھے بابا، میرے بابا، میرے بابا. بعد شبیر ہمارا کوئی وارث نہ رہا، اشقیاء آ گئے خیموں میں ہوا حشر بپا، اور جب چھنی میری ردا، آپ کہاں تھے بابا، میرے بابا، میرے بابا. جب ہر ایک اہل ستم آگ لگانے آیا، اتنا سجاد تھا بھی مار کے اٹھا نہ گیا، جل کے سب خاک ہوا، آپ کہاں تھے بابا، میرے بابا، میرے بابا. سن کے فرمایا علی
ने मेरी बेटी मत रो, आज़माइश है ये हम सबकी, अभी सब्र करो। दिल मगर कहता रहा कि आप कहाँ थे बाबा, मेरे बाबा, मेरे बाबा। बार मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम।
حبيب خدا ختم الانبياء محمد وآل محمد صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. For the soul of Marhuma Khairun Nisa and for all of our Marhumin, Rahimallahu man qara Surat al-Mubarakat al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Malik yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، بارئ الخلائق أجمعين، فاطر السماوات والأرضين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا ومولى الكونين وجد الحسنين والتارك فينا الثقلين، النبي المؤيد والرسول المسدد المصطفى الأمجد أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المذلومين، ورحمة الله على محبيهم وشيعتهم أجمعين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أعداء الله الظالمين من الأولين والآخرين إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله عز وجل في كتابه المجيد: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، وما أنت بهاد العمي عن ضلالتهم، صدق الله العلي العظيم. بر محمد وآل محمد صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. We have a larger than usual crowd, but I know some of you are tired and you've been here since morning. But this salawat that we have is not just a dua, it's not just to pass the time and for me to get a breather or think about what to say. But it is an exhibition to the angels of the sky and to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself of our love for Ali Muhammad. Okay? It is a presentation that we have. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Okay, Allah is sending the salat upon the Prophet. The angels are sending the salat upon the Prophet. So why do we need to do anything? Yeah, the blessings are getting there. Yeah. Why do we need to add to that as a dua? Yeah, when we say Allahumma, it is a dua. No, it's a display of our connection with Rasulullah and his Ahl al-Bayt. It is in essence, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. एक और बुलंद आवाज में मिलकर सलावत अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. We benefit from this dua. The Prophet doesn't. The Al of the Prophet doesn't. We benefit. Yeah. We do this dua in this way, then we get the du'as of Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Yeah. There is a story. On this occasion, it is prudent to mention that as well when we commemorate the Shahadat of our 10th Holy Imam, Ali ibn Muhammad al-Hadi al-Naqi alayhim salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. When he was sent from Medina to Samarra, there's a story of a man from Isfahan. And that man from Isfahan is asked, he's old now, is asked, what brought you to the faith of the Ahl al-Bayt? What made you a Shia? And he tells this story. It's recorded by our scholars. He says that when we were young, we had this jur'at and we stirred up trouble in Isfahan, and we were exiled from Isfahan. The elders got together and they chucked us out. They threw us out of Isfahan. A group of us, we were wandering around, not knowing where to go. We ended up in Samarra. We thought, let us go to Mutawakkil and see whether he can help us. And as they were there, when they entered Samarra, they saw that there is a wafad going in. There is a contingent, a group of people going in. And there's a lot of fanfare happening. There's a lot of commotion. And you see that the center of the commotion is a very quiet man upon his horse, going just straight ahead, without looking left, without looking right. He has his head down, and he is heading towards Mutawakkil. And in his heart, he feels that, okay, he is going towards his death. This Mutawakkil, he was renowned. Yes, he was renowned. If the Banu Umayyah had Hajjaj, for the Khalifa of that time, for Abdul Malik, then Mutawakkil was worse than that. He was the Khalifa and the Hajjaj put in one. There's books written about him and about his despotic and tyrannical ways. And his Nasibiyyat, the scholars of the Ahl Sunnah, they accept that he was a Nasibi. He hated the Ahl al-Bayt alayhimu salatu wassalam. But nevertheless, he was ruthless. And the way the Imam was brought in, he doesn't know who he is now. The way he is brought in, he thinks he is walking towards his death. He's heading towards his death. That's the end of him. Because he knows Mutawakkil. In his heart though, when he got a bit closer, he saw him, looked upon his face, and he recognized the Nuraniyat from his face. And he says that in that instant, this love settled in my heart for him. This kind of love that immediately, as much, as I saw this going by me, this wafad, yes, this group of people, this caravan going and entering into the palace of Mutawakkil, I kept on repeating the dua, oh Allah, protect him, oh Allah, save him. Okay? A dua for the Imam that he doesn't recognize yet, the Imam that he doesn't know yet. He walks in, and the Imam goes in, and as he's going in, and as this man tries to get closer and closer, the Imam alayhi salam, for the first time, he looks towards him. He looks towards him and he says quietly that your dua has been accepted for me. And I also pray for you. I know you are in trouble. You have nothing left. You have been exiled from your home. I pray to Allah for you, for rizq, an abundance of rizq, an abundance of children. Yes, he does dua for that man who is not a Shia yet. He doesn't recognize this man yet. He, without going to Mutawakkil, he goes and heads back home. He heads back home, and years later, over the years, he amasses wealth upon wealth. Allah gives him 10 sons. Yes. All from the barakat of his dua initially for the Holy Imam. So when we pray for the Holy Imam, When we pray for the Prophet and his Ahl al-Bayt by reciting the Salawat, imagine the abundance of rizq that he can give and Allah can give with the du'as of Muhammad wa ali Muhammad as well in our favor for our dunya and for the akhirah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The Imam's Imamat began in a tragic way where, of course, as we know, his father in his youth, in his mid-20s, he was martyred. And he had this son in Medina. This young son. At that time, he himself, when Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam became the Imam, he was young. He was 6 years old. But his son, he was also about 7 years old when he became the Imam. And the Abbasids decided that without delaying the matter and waiting for this Imam to grow up and to become an adult, let us nip this in the bud. Let us not kill him, but let us brainwash him, indoctrinate him away from the path of his forefathers. He has no father now. There's no one there. The Imam alayhi salam was born in a town just outside of Medina called Soria. That's where he was initially raised. This town was actually founded and this house was built by Imam Musa al-Kadhim alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. But from the moment that Imamat comes to him, the Caliph of the time, Mu'tasim, the killer of his father, he sends a teacher. I'm sure you've heard this story many times before. He sends a teacher, Al-Junaidi. This teacher goes there, thinking that I can now, because he's stuck there. There's no one else there. Everyone else is excluded from this particular room that he is now imprisoned in his own home. This tutor would come, Al-Junaidi would come, unlock the doors, go in, teach him, indoctrinate him, and then leave and lock the doors behind him. Okay, this was our 10th holy Imam in the beginning of his Imamat. But when people asked him, the narrator says that I asked him, how is this boy? He says, don't call him a boy, call him a sheikh. And as years go on, he eventually finds him, the teacher, Al-Junaidi, to be a lover of the Ahl al-Bayt, to be the Shia of the Ahl al-Bayt. Why? Because he says that I am not teaching him, he is teaching me. Yeah. That is a light of a guidance. This is why he is Al-Hadi. Every one of the Imams alayhimussalatu wassalam are guides. They are our Hudats, the plural of Hadi. Every one of them. They are, from their perspective, guides for us. But the question to ask is, are they our guides? They are guides, but are they our guides? In the verse that I have recited, it's a simple verse, a part of a verse in Surah Ar-Rum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala. The verse says, وَمَا أَنْتَ بِهَادِ الْعُمْيِ عَنْ ضَلَالَتِهِمْ. You are not a guide. For whom? For those who are blind in their misguidance. Those who are blind in their misguidance, you will not guide them. You will not be able to guide them. You're not a guide for them. So when all of our Imams are, of course, the Hadis of this Ummah, and our Imam, our 10th Imam, the grandfather of our holy Imam, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. He is called Al-Hadi. In the subcontinent, the name that really comes to mind is An-Naqi. Yes. But in the Arab world, in the books of Arabic literature and Arabic history and Arabic biographies, and the Sirat of the Ma'sumin written in Arabic, the name Al-Hadi is there at the front. But even if we take both of these names, what we understand, there's a message there as well. Yeah. Because we also have to give guidance as well. How so? We have to be hadis in our own way as well to those around them. When we do al-amr bil ma'roof and nahi anil munkar, it starts with our children, our family. We raise our families, our children. In that way, we are guides. But can we be true guides? Can we be influential? Can we have an effect on those that we are trying to guide? Those that we have the responsibility to guide without taharat and naqawat. Yes. An-naqi means what? The pure one. Taharat and naqawat, they mean more or less the same thing. Naqawat, there's a level of taharat that we must have as well in our own souls. Without, that taharat, of course, is something spiritual. It is about our level of taqwa. It is about our proximity to Sayyidah Fatima Zahra salamullah alayha. Yes. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. It is about our spiritual growth. When we say something, will it hit the heart? Will it be effective? Will it bear fruit? Or is it a waste of time what I'm saying? When I say something, I have to do it as well myself. I have to have that, at least that level of taharat within myself, that I am acting upon the guidance that I'm giving others as well. This is where we begin. We must begin with ourselves and our own growth, our own spiritual growth. Now this spiritual growth, it doesn't mean that, listen, I'm not praying Salatul Layl, I'm not fasting, this is Rajab, we should be fasting, but I can't do this. These du'as, these a'mal, so I don't have the spiritual growth, so I'll move away from al-amr bil ma'roof and nahi anil munkar. No, it doesn't work like that. In the same way, these are obligations, guidance, us giving guidance. Do we just leave it to the Imam, guidance? Is it just his role? Al-Imam Al-Hadi alayhi salam, the guide. Is it just his role? Or did he have a plethora of scholars, his students around him? Scholars such as Ali ibn Ibrahim al-Qummi, the one who wrote Tafsir al-Qummi, one of the earliest tafasir that we have, a companion of Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam. Husayn ibn Sa'id al-Ahwazi, the writer of many, many books. Him and his brother Hassan, together they possibly wrote more than 100 books. Yes. There's many books that have gone from amongst us. Yes, they've gone, but there's certain books still there. Kitab al-Mu'min. Yes. There's many other books that are still there. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Could I ask that the children disperse because they need to be focusing in the majlis. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajjal farajahum. The Imam alayhi salam, he is the Hadi. Yeah. But he had others that were trained, and those then trained others, and those scholars would then train families, parents. Each one of us has a role in spreading that guidance, spreading that nur. It's a responsibility, it is a duty, it is wajib. Al-amr bil ma'roof and nahi anil munkar is wajib. Just as salat is wajib. Is it an excuse that I don't know how to pray and therefore I will not pray? It's no excuse. The month of Rajab has come and we need to have that spiritual growth, at least intention. Have that intention, pray for tawfiq, Allah will give you that tawfiq. Have that willpower, start baby steps, small things. One fast in the holy month of Rajab. Or 3 fasts, one in the beginning, one in the middle, one towards the end. You will reap the rewards. You might not be able to see it in this dunya, but in the akhirah by Allah you will see it. That spiritual growth is just as important as any knowledge, as I mentioned on Jum'ah as well. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The holy Imam, he was the Imam for 34 years. For 34 years, from the year 220 until 254, which was the year of his Shahadat. Yes. On the 3rd of Rajab, according to what is mashhur. The other account is different dates that are recorded in the end of the previous month, Jumada Thaniya. But what is mashhur is the 3rd of Rajab, 254 after Hijrah. 34 years of Imamat. What did he do? I have a few minutes left. What do I say? There's so many stories, so many things that because he was known as Al-Hadi by the Shi'as and those scholars who came later and described him as Al-Hadi. He was renowned as Al-Hadi. And no doubt, when you look at him and look at his life, how I mentioned a few things this morning in the Fajr program about him and the defense of the Quran and what the Quran is, whether it is a makhluk or whether it is a khaliq. Those discussions at that time, he was giving guidance to the mu'mineen. He was giving guidance for the mu'mineen in terms of the different inhirafat and diversions within the Muslims and then within the Shi'as. Within the Shi'as, we have those who are turning towards ghulu, the exaggeration of the maqam of the Aimma alayhimu salatu wasalam to divinity. The Imam alayhi salam, many narrations where he said that such and such people, the leaders of ghulu and nusayriyat, they are mal'oon. We must avoid them at all costs. We must not sit with them. We must not invite them. And not just that, he said that if someone kills them, I will guarantee Jannat for them. Of course, I do not endorse this at this particular age, but this is the extent that he went to. They're wajib al-qatl, the ghalin. He spoke about the Sufis, he spoke about the other madhahib there in the dunya, in the Islamic world at that time. But the undercurrent, what I feel is that the undercurrent of every message of guidance, that every Hadi gave. And remember, when they are Hadi, we need to ensure that they are our guides as well. So that we have to be recipients of that guidance as well. And for us to be recipients, we have to ensure that the door's open. It's not closed. We need to remove any blindness from ourselves. We might find ourselves misguided in certain things, but if we want guidance, then our door has to be opened. Our blindness needs to go. So when the Imam alayhi salam, when he's giving guidance, there's a theme, there's an undercurrent, even if it's not visible. And that undercurrent is about what? It's about death, really. About maut, about the akhirah. Every Hadi, when they were giving the khutbahs that Imam Ali alayhi salam has given, that are recorded in Nahj al-Balagha, look at the undercurrent. What would be in the mind and in the heart of Imam Ali alayhi salam? That I have my death, the mu'mineen, my Shias have their death as well. It's all in preparation for the akhirah. And there's one occasion where he is there in Samarra. And in Samarra there were different times in his life. There were good times and bad times. There was a period of 6 months when Mutawakkil died. The conspiracy is, within the history books, is that his son killed him. But his son, who was Muntasir, he only ruled for 6 months. But what was unique about him? We can compare him with Umar ibn Abdul Aziz of the Banu Umayyah. This Abbasid Khalifa, he returned Fadak again back to Ali Muhammad in Medina. He invited the Talibiyin, the awlad of Hazrat Abu Talib alayhi salam. He invited them, the awqaf al-Shi'i, that was reopened. His father froze all assets. Everything that was waqf for the Shi'as, it was all frozen. He unfroze it. He became a friend for the followers of the Ahl al-Bayt, or those who were even just politically aligned with the rebellions that were happening before him through the children of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. certain times he was in prison. In certain times he was in his home and he was under house arrest. Difficult times throughout that period. The 13 years of Medina was also a part of his tabligh, a part of his efforts for hidayat, guiding people. And so much love that he earned in the city of Medina that when Mutawakkil sent someone to Medina to bring Ali ibn Muhammad ibn Ali al-Ridha, to bring him to Samarra, the people of Medina never allowed them. They said, no, you're not taking him from us. Allama Hilli and others have mentioned this. And then it is only upon the assistance of the person that Mutawakkil sent, that don't worry, we won't harm him, we want to benefit from him and so on, that they allowed the army of the Abbasids to take him towards Baghdad and then from Baghdad to Samarra. In Samarra, different situation, there was a flux, Khalifas came and went. Mutawakkil was the worst time. Mutawakkil, the tyrant, the one who demolished the grave of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam. The one who ensured that there's no more ziyarat of Imam Ali alayhi salam and the ziyarat of Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam. An enemy of the Shias. Such an enemy that there was this famous grammarian and scholar of Arabic literature and poetry and grammar called Ibn Sakit. Ibn Sakit was a tutor. He was hired by Mutawakkil to be the tutor to his two sons. And when the Imam alayhi salam arrived in Samarra, there was a friendship that developed slowly, gradually. In the end, it seems to be some rumors about Ibn Sakit that he has become a Shia of Ali ibn Muhammad al-Hadi alayhi salam. There's some rumors there. Mutawakkil wants to test him. He says, okay, here are my two sons that you have been tutoring for so many years. Are these more beloved to you, or are the sons of Ali, Hassan and Husayn, more beloved to you? The different narrations about the response, but one narration says, he says that the laces on the sandals of the Qambar, the servant of Ali, is more beloved to me than your two sons. Yeah. That love. Yeah. Sometimes we need to question our courage. Yeah. Ibn Sakit, he was a scholar, now he was tested. This would have been in front of people. There's a nuance about taqiyya. Yes. Inshallah, on another occasion, I'll speak of that, about taqiyya, when we should do taqiyya, and when taqiyya is haram, even if my life is in danger. Yeah. Ibn Sakit, what happened to him? Okay. He was the second most renowned in that early period scholar of Arabic literature ever. Okay. And what Mutawakkil did was that he opened the back of his neck, grabbed his tongue and pulled it out from the back. Min al-qafa. And then he hung him up. He crucified him, and then he died over a number of days. This is the process of crucifixion. This is Ibn Sakit. But the Imam alayhi salam, the story I want to end on, the Imam alayhi salam, he's there in Samarra. There are rumors that spread again about him. The rumors are that he is gathering funds, he is gathering weapons, and he's about to overturn your hukuma. He's planning to do these things. He gets scared, he sends an army to his door. They reach his door, they find nothing there except for him praying. There's no farash, there's no carpet, there's no rug. He's on the bare ground, on the sand in his house, offering his prayers in salah. Mid-salah, they grab him by the neck and they take him to Mutawakkil. Mutawakkil, at that moment, he is in a party. There is a lot of alcohol, women, dancing. He is brought into such a mahfil. The musicians are playing their music, the singers are singing, and there's merriment, there's drinking of alcohol. Mutawakkil has a glass of wine in his hands. He brings Imam Ali alayhi salam, Imam Ali al-Naqi alayhi salam to next to him. He sits him down and he says, here's this glass of wine. He says, my flesh and my blood has never touched alcohol. It's never been soiled with any kind of najasa like this. And then he says, okay, recite for me some poetry. Okay, people are reciting ghazals, songs. And first he says no. But Mutawakkil insists, and his insistence, of course, is it's a king, it's a tyrannical king. The Imam alayhi salam then says, okay, I'll say a few words of poetry. Imagine that scene. Everyone is happy, smiling, laughing. A lot of alcohol. People are intoxicated. Yeah. And they've brought in women, promiscuous women as well. And in that particular gathering, the Imam alayhi salam, really he has a choice. Anyone would have a choice. Either leave or change what they see in front of them. This is even for us in our day-to-day lives. And we find ourselves in a situation, in a place where we shouldn't be. We need to either leave or make a change there. The Imam alayhi salam cannot leave. So his only option is to make a change there, to stop all of this sinning. And he recites these lines of poetry. And these are famous lines of poetry. You might have heard of these before. He says, باتوا على قلل الأجبال تحرسهم غلب الرجال فلم تنفعهم القلل واستنزلوا بعد عز من معاقلهم واسكنوا حفرا يا بئس ما نزلوا. Now I'll translate this. He says that these kings, these rulers, these kings, they have built their palaces upon the tops of mountains. Batu, yani their bait, they spend their nights and they rest upon the peaks of mountains. على قلل الأجبال تحرسهم غلب الرجال فلم تنفعهم القلل. These peaks, these high places, they will not protect them. They have this hirasat around them. They have these guards around them to ensure no pain, no trouble comes their way. Even if no one gets to that ruler, but there's one that will get to him, and that is Malik al-Maut. Death will come to him. وَاسْتُنْزِلُوا بَعْدَ عِزٍّ مِّن مَّعَاقِلِهِمْ. And how high they were and how much they have fallen. They're now in their graves, dug in the earth. They're below the earth now. Ya bi'sa ma nuzilu. How bad and how great is this falling? Yeah. From the tops of mountains, from the White House and the palaces of all the rulers of the world. In the end, they will fall and they will fall and they will fall. And that is why it's so important to be grounded with death. Not to think that I am high and mighty above everyone else in the way that kings think. نَادُوهُمْ صَارِخٌ مِّن بَعْدِ دَفْنِهِمْ. And then a caller will call out after they have been buried. أَيْنَ الْأَسَاوِرُ وَالتِّجَانُ وَالْحُلَلُ. Where is your gold, your silver, your crown, your takht, your everything, the clothes embroidered with all the gems of the world? Where is all of that now? Yes, someone will call out from the grave. أين الوجوه التي كانت منعمة. Where are those faces that were so, that we dedicate so much to our faces to make us, that is our face. This is how we present ourselves. من دونها تضرب الأستار والكلل فأفصح القبر عنهم حين سائلهم تلك الوجوه عليها الدود تقتتل. That now it's the insects now that are feeding upon that face, and are fighting one another to devour that face, that same face that was so cared for and maintained before. قَدْ طَالَمَا أَكَلُوا دَهْرًا وَمَا شَرَبُوا. For days and on end they ate and they drank and they ate and they drank. खाते रहे, पीते रहे. وَأَصْبَحُوا الْيَوْمَ بَعْدَ الْأَكْلِ قَدْ أُكِلُوا. आज खा रहे नहीं हैं, खाते रहे हैं, लेकिन अभी खाए जा रहे हैं. ज़मीन के हशरात के ग़ज़ा बन गए हैं. Death will come to us all. But in these words, and these words, I found the same poem only longer in the diwan of Hazrat Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The 28 lines, these are just 5-6 lines. The 28 lines, there's more of this. Yeah. And as soon as the Imam just recites these few verses of this poem, the glass in the hand of Mutawakkil falls to the ground. Everyone is silent now. Those faces that were laughing in merriment in all this sinning, it all went. There was silence, the party was over. Everyone became sober. But that sobriety is more than just being sober from alcohol and such intoxicants. It is the sobriety of the fact that death will come to us. Today we have buried a member of this community, a much loved member of this community, a mother. And this is a fate that we will all face, whether we are old in age or young. Allah has decided. This is the undercurrent of every message of every Hadi. Remember your death. Let that remembrance of your death sober you. Let it sink in that what am I doing here? Am I wasting my time? The month of Rajab has arrived, brothers and sisters. How much will we invest in this month and in the next 2 months to come? Things for us to think about, things to introspect over. And to think when we commemorate Al-Imam Al-Hadi alayhi salam and his most difficult death, his shahadat. There's a death of the sword when heads are struck. But that is in a fraction of a second there is a pain that a person might or might not feel. But where there is poison, a slow poison that spreads in the body, Al-Imam Al-Hadi alayhi salam, in a place that he never knew. It has become his home now, Samarra. He was in the district of Al-Askar, and therefore he is called Al-Askari. And his son is called Al-Askari. But this wasn't his home. He never wanted to be there. Imam Ali alayhi salam went to Kufa. Of his choice, did our Imam go to Samarra from his choice? No. He was surrounded by armies of the enemy. But yet, in that environment, he turned the hearts in such a way, like the Isfahani that I spoke of in the beginning. And as he suffered through that poison, there is a thirst that comes. But you know, the Imam, our holy Imam, the 10th Imam, he had his sons with him. He had his sister, Hakima Khatun. She was there as well. And when he felt the thirst, they were readily there, bringing him water to drink, to quench his thirst. But there was a brother, and that brother was also Ajnabi. He was also Gharib al-Watan, but he was in Karbala. He had sons and brothers, but they could not bring him the water. He had a sister who couldn't bring him the water. He wanted water. He wanted to bring water for Ali Asghar. He wanted water for his Sakina and Ruqayya. He wanted water for Rubab so that she can then nurse Ali Asghar. But there was no water to be had. Imam al-Askari alayhi salam, it is said that as he did the tashyi' of the janazah, as he followed the janazah of his father, the whole of Samarra was mourning and weeping and grieving, enemies and friends alike. The janazah was outside on the street outside his home. They were about to take him to the Qabristan. But Mutawakkil saw all of these Shias coming in. And then others were coming in as well. He said, there's going to be a mutiny on my hand. And he turned the janazah back into his home. Yes, that he will be buried in his home. A home that we go and we see today. And that was destroyed just a few years ago. This was the home of the Imam. This was the home of Imam al-Askari alayhi salam. This was the home of our holy Imam. Yes. And many times we hear in the history of Imam al-Hadi and Imam al-Askari, many times there were raids. I spoke of one raid. Many times they raided his home. They came in, they found nothing. They just wanted to disturb him, to cause him problems. Yes. But they did not bring fire to the house. In Karbala, as they wanted to loot the place, they came with their looting, and they came with their fire, and they came with their horses. Allah knows in that fire how many women and how many children were trampled by the horses. As Imam al-Askari alayhi salam is there in that janazah of his father, the Rawi says that he is mourning, he is grieving. But they also say that his clothes are ripped. He has ripped his qamis in mourning for his father. But Imam al-Hasan al-Askari, I know that this isn't the only gham in his heart. He sees how Samarra, the city of munafiqeen, a city of soldiers intent to killing off the line of Husayn alayhi salam. We see that all shops are closed now. People are sad. People are grieving. People are mourning. But when it came to his great-grandfather, Aba Abdullah al-Husayn in Karbala, he had a son. He wanted to grieve for him. But whenever he wanted to cry out for his father, Shimr was there to whip his back. When his daughter Sakina and Ruqayya wanted to mourn and cry for their slain father, for when they saw the body of Husayn, imagine young children as they see the remains of their father, the father whose head is upon the spear and the body is trampled by the horses, by their hooves. The daughters, they look upon their father's body, they want to cry, they want to mourn, they want to say Ya Abata, they want to say Wa Ghariba. But whenever they let out a cry, Shimr comes with his whip and they are slapped. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. ماتم حسين.
Hussein, Ya 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 Hussein, Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. مولا سخي ابن سخي قل عسكري علي النقي يا سخي يا علي النقي يا سخي يا علي النقي يا سخي يا علي النقي یا سخی یا علی النقی یا سخی یا علی النقی علی النقی آپ کی ماں ہے بی بی سمانہ خاتون آپ کی ماں ہے بی بی سمانہ خاتون آپ کے بابا جاں ہیں محمد تقی تم نے 6 سال کے عمر میں پائی تھی ذمہ داری امامت کی اور آل کی تو ہے شہزادہ دو جہاں رنج کی ہے تیری داستان یا سخی یا علی النقی یا سخی یا علی النقی یا سخی یا یا سخی یا علی النقی تم کو دربار میں لایا ظالم نے جب متوکل تھا مستخت پر آپ کو کے اشاروں کے پر کے کیا زیر باری وہ ظالم کا اس وقت پر تیرے لفظوں کا تھا یہ اثر خون رویا تھا یہ بیدگر یا سخی یا علی النقی یا سخی یا علی النقی یا سخی یا علی النقی متکبر وہ ظالم تھا اتنا بڑا تیری عظمت کو پہچان پایا نہیں خود کو افضل سمجھ کے ستمگار یوں شرگار میں پھینکو یہ تم کو لئی ہے بلند یہ تیرا مرتبہ ہے بلند یہ تیرا مرتبہ تم کو شیروں نے سجدہ کیا یا سخی یا علی النقی یا سخی یا علی النقی یا سخی یا علی النقی جس طرح سے مدینے کو رخصت کیا مثل شبیر تو نے بھی رخصت کیا جنگل کربلا کو چلے تھے حسین جنگل سامرا تھا وہ منزل تیرا وہ ہوئے کربلا میں قتل سامرا میں تھی تیری اجل یا سخی یا علی النقی یا سخی یا علی النقی یا سخی یا علی النقی یا میرے شہزاد سن لو یہ دل کی دعا تم کو زینب کی چادر کا ہے واسطہ جس کے دل میں ہے حاجت وہ مقبول کر آسرا ہر محبوں کا بس ہے تیرا جس کے دل میں ہے حاجت بھری ان کے لب پہ صدا ہے یہی یا سخی علی النقی یا سخی یا علی النقی یا سخی یا علی النقی سب یتیموں کو سایہ رحمت ملے ہر پریشان دل کو سلامت ملے ظالموں کو سزا اور قیامت ملے حشر میں مومنوں کو شفاعت ملے آپ سب حاجوں کے در ہے وہ کیونکہ ہے آپ کا پاک گھر یا سخی یا علی النقی 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 زہر تم کو کھلایا گیا یا امام متوکل کی ظلمت کی تھی انتہا یہ اثر تھا کہ تھا تیرے ٹکڑے جگر مرتے بھی درد سے تن تھے تیرا بھرا ہائے مولا یہ غربت تیری تھے جنازے پہ بس عسکری یا سخی یا علی النقی یا سخی یا علی النقی سخی یا علی النقی یا سخی یا علی النقی یا حسین یا حسین
السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا نبي الله، السلام على علي أمير المؤمنين، السلام على فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام على خديجة الكبرى أم المؤمنين والمؤمنات، السلام على أبي طالب، السلام على مولاي الإمام الحسن المجتبى سبط رسول الله وريحانته وسيد شباب أهل الجنة، السلام على أئمة الهدى من ولد الحسين ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيد الوصيين، السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولاي ابن مولاي يا غريب الغرباء، السلام عليك يا معين الضعفاء والفقراء، السلطان أبا الحسن علي بن موسى الرضا، كن شفيعنا وشفيع والدينا في يوم الجزاء ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا حجة الله في الأرض يا صاحب العصر والزمان، سيدي الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان، السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا كعبة الإيمان يا إمام الإنس والجان، عجل الله تعالاه فرجك وسهل الله تعالاه مخرجك وظهورك، وجعلنا من أنصارك وأعوانك وشيعتك ومحبيك ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن